Oh, hey, it's been a few years since our last entry, right? Remember the noodles that we cooked and ate in the morning? Yeah, well today, I actually have an actual recipe that I want to share with you guys, which being red velvet brownies. Why exactly? Over the years, I've come to the conclusion that brownies are one of my favorite comfort foods. It it has that similar texture to cake, but it has like a fluffiness and like that uh, sturdiness of that doesn't fall apart in your mouth as much like cake. And overall, eating a brownie makes me happy. Then when you add the flavors of a red velvet dessert with the structure of a brownie, I think we're gonna have a really interesting combo that should be like a sense of happiness in your mouth and such. To which then, to get to that point, let's go over the following ingredients.
1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of white vinegar, 1/2 cup of butter, 1/2 cup of sugar, 4 eggs, 2 red food color packets, 1 teaspoon of salt, 90 grams of flour, and 20 grams of cocoa powder. Before you start cooking, you will have to prep certain ingredients, such as heating the butter up and measuring out the carbohydrates. Then put your oven on preheat for 350 degrees Fahrenheit, or the highest that your oven can do. What you want to do first is place your sugar, butter, and eggs into a bowl and start mixing the ingredients together until they are close to being liquefied. Then add the flour and cocoa powder into the mixture until the clumps have been mostly removed, which then you can add your food color packets into the mixture to give it the velvet red look. Once that is done, take out 1/6 cup of the batter and save it on the side for later. To prep it for the tray, make sure to oil it up on all the sides to make sure it doesn't stick to the pan and dump the mixture into it. Once the oven is set, make sure to insert the pan into the oven for it to cook for 25 to 30 minutes. In the meantime, you can either wash your dishes or make the cream cheese top, to which comprises of dumping 225 grams of cream cheese, 45 grams of sugar, and 2 eggs into a bowl. Once you have mixed all of those together, you are set for the next step, being which, after taking the tray out for the first inspection, whip the cream cheese all over the top layer and making sure to cover it completely. Then you can drizzle the leftover batter on the top and draw a pattern with the use of a stick. Once that is done, send it back into the oven for another 20 minutes for it to cook completely. Once that is over, would you look at that? You succeeded at making red velvet brownies.
Alright, so here we have the brownies themselves done. This is from the second batch, as you can see from here and such. Which this isn't really fair because we've already tried the first batch. However, obviously that was right when it was done. This is hours after them in the freezer and then just sitting on the dining room table and such. But as you can see, like, they definitely do look the part and such. And overall, you can see how fudgy it looks. I haven't tasted one from the second batch and such. So this is an edge piece and this is a middle piece. So let's, jeez. Let's have a taste and such. So obviously this is the cream cheese layer with the brownie right there, and then obviously taking a bite. I think this is the best it's probably tasted. I don't know what that part is, but the edge we overcooked a bit, but even though it probably should be colder, I think this is definitely a lot better than
We tried the first batch. We didn't record the first batch or trying it, but the second batch definitely is a lot more closer to what this is supposed to be. Well, it's not like that comfort fluff that I typically like from brownies. The fluff is still like sustainable. And the cream cheese, I think, actually is a lot more balanced here, as opposed to in the first batch. As you can see, it does that to the plate. But let's try a middle piece. Yeah, a lot more creamier. Which is kind of expected. I think the middle pieces are kind of overtaken by the cream cheese. So it's kind of the opposite, because I think the edge pieces you can actually taste the brownie. Because the brownie here basically is just kind of washed away. You feel it. But it gets overtaken by the cream cheese. Which is definitely interesting. So those were Red Velvet Brownies. It might have been our first taste might have been off, but I think this batch is definitely the more superior one, but obviously makes sense to finish off the first batch and then this one and such. But you know, I'm just at least glad it's not overcooked. Like, I'm happy we at least did it. And with that, that'll have to do with the second entry of Cooking with Ryder. Will there be a third entry? Depends on what I want to cook up. Thank you for being here. And remember, always remember how to keep on cooking.